just to correct them all.
Yeah.
If you want to get a certificate and all that stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's really cool to have a grading buddy.
Yeah.
You can
Compare notes and yeah.
Hi.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yes, yes, we did.
We figured out all existing.
Oh, you're asking about what we talked about in R2.
It disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand all existing things.
That's right.
Over tea an hour before, just like had to just refresh on all existence.
Oh, actually,
all existing things one more time?
can we ask you, one of the things we were talking about?
I love logic jokes. That's so good. Logic jokes.
One of the things we were talking about, what was one we were talking we were talking about the alphabet. So I was just using like X as a filler for things in an algorithm. And it was like consider X, and we said X is a letter because it's in the alphabet. And then we sort of ran the test and then found that to be true. And then we went back and we said, so then we said consider the alphabet. So somebody's like, what's the alphabet? Define that. And then we said consider the alphabet. It is.
What is it?
It exists because it's a collection of letters. And then we're like, that doesn't seem like,
Yeah, it didn't work.
that doesn't seem good. What's good?
Yeah, that's not so good.
No.
Not so good.
It's not so good at all.
Yeah.
So then what would you for alphabet? Consider
What
alphabet.
you did, and this, yeah, cool, we can start with this, because we want, of course, I want to review a little bit some of their stuff. So we said there's 3 things you can use as reasons. Do you remember what they were? Anybody?
Oh, yes. Results,
Yep.
identity,
Yeah, let's do that one first, like identity. First one. Second one is root whole
All right.
cause and effect, right?
Right.
And then what was the third one? That's the kind of hard one.
the negation.
Yeah, so the absence of something. Yeah, we can say negation. So the first proof that you gave me, consider X, it's a letter because it's in the alphabet. Which one of these 3 is that?
Identity, yeah.
Yeah, identity. Right? That's the relationship of identity. If we do the circles, which one is it? Mushi or Musum? Is it 4 or 3?
3.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because
It's part of something.
a part of a collection.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's do this. So let's do the test though, just to check, right? So give me something which is neither a letter nor part of the alphabet.
2.
Yeah, a number, cat, dog, banana, fish. Give me something which is, let's see, part of the alphabet. Actually, part of the alphabet, but not a letter.
Doesn't exist.
Well, you can say the alphabet itself, actually.
Oh.
The alphabet itself is not, technically speaking, a letter, but it is part of the alphabet. You can say that.
Is it a part of the alphabet? Or is it
Well, let's
the
think about it.
concept of
We can think about it some more. Then both. What would be both?
A letter and
Any
yeah,
particular
any
letter, N or N, X or whatever. Then is there something that could be a letter but not be part of the alphabet? Probably not. Right?
Probably not. No.
So if that's true, then it would be this one. So we would say letters go in here. Oh, like we could do this. I'm sorry, I messed it up. It's my fault. So you used X, so I should use X here. That's going to be confusing. Well, let's use A instead. So both and neither we covered. Then let's say A and B. The letters A and B, right? So the letter A is part of the alphabet, but remember our test is there has to be something other than this, which is in the big circle, but not that. So other letters would fulfill that condition, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's all the alphabet. So you have that's supposed to be a B. B, C, D, E, F, right? A goes in here. Right? So you can think of something which is A and part of the alphabet, and think of something which is part of the alphabet and not A.
And would we be looking at letters then as objects or concepts?
You could do either,
Okay.
and it's important to make that distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To know what you're
Because it totally
saying.
changes. I was talking with Tad about we all seem to struggle. And I need an eraser.
They're on the back of those markers. Not that.
This?
Yep.
Okay. We struggled a little bit, it seemed like, with, I did definitions and all existing things. and things they define.
Yeah.
And so, what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I think you were trying to posit was, if we did like my Chevy, like say I owned a Chevy, I don't, but say I had a Chevy, my Chevy is, no, I need a specific one, thanks. Let's say what's a Chevy? Is Camaro a Chevy?
Chevy Camaro, yeah.
Okay, so let's say, I just spelled Camaro.
Yep.
A.
C-A-R, yeah, A-R.
A-M-E-R?
No, C-A-M-A-R.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I mean. So let's say my Camaro. My Camaro is a Camaro, right? Which is a
Car. Which is a
which is a Chevy,
Chevy.
which is a
Automobile.
car, or automobile, right? So we can keep doing that.
Automobile.
So that's kind of like sets and subsets.
Mm-hmm.
But the example I was using was, so if we want to take, and car is part of all existing things, right? So then from this perspective, can we go any further out? Is there anything now that this could be a subset of that's, this is now a small circle and there's a bigger circle that encloses that?
All
No.
existing.
No.
Yeah, no, right? Because all existing things, that covers everything. You can't do a bigger circle than that. But does that mean that all existing things can't be achieved?
What's a chi? A chi being the
A small circle, characteristic.
Okay.
All existing things
Concepts?
can't be it.
No.
Well,
Quality?
you can have like all things as the name of a set that my Camaro is included in. So
No, yeah, with this particular version, we're stuck. If this was the only, looking at all things from this perspective, no, there's no bigger circle we can imagine. But what we do is, so chi means characteristic, right? We just have to think of something that this is characteristic of. And then the one that I gave was things that need definitions, right? Because everything needs a definition, including all existing things. It also has a definition, right? So what we do is we make the big circle things that need a definition. And then the little circle is all existing things. Because can you think of something else that needs a definition?
my Camaro.
Like Camaro, cat, dog, bird, banana, whatever. Because that also needs a definition. See? So this is just an instance of things that need to be defined. Now, can you put this inside that?
So I have a question. I'm
It is
sorry.
inside that, right? Because it's all things.
No, it's-
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't now take this and put it inside here. You can't do that.
Because that's an element and this is a relationship, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Because I'm not talking about all things like all existing things. I'm talking about all existing things as a thing that needs a definition. Right? So you can't put these circles now inside of this.
So does that mean that when
Does that
you
make sense?
have,
No. Damn.
when you
I worked really hard on this.
when you put all existing things in the inner circle, does that not put quotes on it?
Yeah, I mean that's like
That's the
it's like a
trick.
hint.
I like that you asked that in a negative way.
Oh yeah.
So why is Camaro on the outset of all existing things?
Because it also needs a definition.
And our
Yes.
focus is all existing things.
Yeah. In this subject category, what we're looking at is things that need definitions.
Got it.
Right.
So all things need definitions. So for example, all things itself needs a definition,
Yeah.
and also any other existing thing needs a definition, because all things need definitions. As I'm not helping you.
No. But that's like like the concept of all
Yeah,
things is
yeah.
one thing, and then
You-
everything else is.
Yeah, you can say every existing thing, like, here, let's do it this way. This is not gonna help either, but, if I go back to my original graph, right, and I say all things, what can we divide all things into? Give me an example.
Physical and mental, is that what it is? Changing and unchanging.
Changing and unchanging first. right? Or what was the other example I gave?
Ningpo and everything that isn't.
Ningpo and everything that's not Ningpo, right? Because that would cover all existing things, right? Not such a useful way to divide things, but I can do it that way, right?
Nice.
Another way you could divide all existing things is you could say definitions and things that need definitions. Would that cover all existing things?
Sure.
Yeah. Because everything, if you're going to talk about it, it needs a definition. So everything that exists is either a definition itself or a thing that needs a definition. That will cover everything. Right? So when I'm doing it this way, this one, I'm using this one. Right? Is all things that exist a definition or a thing that needs a definition?
Needs a definition.
It's a thing that needs a definition, so it goes in this category. Does that make sense?
How would you describe a thing that needs a definition without sort of already defining it as that thing that you're describing it as?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do here. So you can say definition. And I've seen logic books that say definendum, definitions and definendum. You know, so like there's the definition itself, and there's a thing that needs a definition. So like, what's the definition of existing?
Knowable. Oh no.
That's a synonym.
Yes. Anything that which can be perceived with a valid perception.
Yes. Good.
You can use the orange thing.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be faster. Okay. So definition of existing is perceived either by valid perception. Okay. So which part is the definition? Perceived by valid. Which part is the thing that needs to be defined?
All existing things.
Existing. Yeah. That's it. So everything you say has to be one or the other of those. So I can split all existing things this way, and then when I do now when I'm talking about all existing things, I'm not actually talking about all existing things. I'm talking about all existing things as a thing that needs a definition.
In this,
And then it's just an instance now, it's not a category. Does that make sense? I'm going to keep saying that, you're going to keep staring at me, it's fine.
in this system, does it get circular with definitions that there are words that are used in definitions that have not been able to be defined because there are not enough of a subset of words that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that in a bit. We're actually definitions and things they define as a subject we're going to discuss this weekend. So let's save that for that. Yeah.
Before we totally go off the deep end, can you also specifically talk about how this classification process would lead to the direct perception of emptiness?
Sure. But let's go all the way back. Let's use the way back machine, and we'll go to your original question, which you wanted to know why your first syllogism was good and your second one wasn't, right?
Can I ask you a quick question before I forget it, because it's simple for me?
You can
So
ask
when
me.
we talk about definition and the thing that needs definition, basically the thing that needs definition is just the subject, linguistically speaking. It's just the subject of the actual definition of the word. And then the thing that, the definition is just the object phrase.
Yeah, you can say that.
Right?
Yeah, and we're supposed to talk about subject and object too today, so.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll give you definitions for those. So your first syllogism, right? Consider a letter. It's part of the. What was it? Consider X. It's a letter. Wait a minute. What was it?
Consider X, it exists because it's in the alphabet.
No, that was the bad one.
Consider X, it exists. Oh, consider X
It's a letter because it's part of the
it's-
alphabet. That was the first.
What is it?
Consider X, it's a
X,
letter
it's a
because it's
letter.
a part of the alphabet.
That's it. That was good.
Right.
Because it's a part of the alphabet. Okay, so how do we know that's true?
Run the three tests.
Run 3 tests. What's test number 1?
1 and 3 are related.
Yeah, has to be a relationship between 1 and 3. So, what's the subject?
X,
The letter X. What's the reason?
because it's part of the
Because
alphabet.
it's part of the alphabet. So is that true?
No,
Why?
because the ordering of the letters is part of the alphabet, and that doesn't make it a letter.
Oh, so you're saying that one of the qualities of the alphabet is the ordering, and it's not included?
So then we need to define.
But this is not a necessary relationship. You're adding a degree of difficulty here. It's unnecessary. The first one just has to show a relationship. It's not it's not an exclusive. Yeah. Good though. Good. All we have to do is show some relationship. So as long as X is a part of the alphabet, it doesn't have to be the only part of the alphabet or anything like that. But as long as the letter X is a part of the alphabet, we're okay.
So that's the first test.
That's the first test.
Okay.
Yeah. Then what's the second test?
If it's a part of the.
If 3 must 2.
Yeah. If 3 must 2. So then what's that here?
It's part of the alphabet. It must be a letter.
Yeah. Then this is where you would object.
Yeah.
You could say there's other parts of the being an alphabet which are not a letter, like that has an order, or what else? What would be another characteristic of the alphabet that's not a letter?
That's the only one I can think of.
Could depend on what kind of
You could
alphabet
do
it is.
everything though, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's important though. Maybe that's the reason why we struggle a little bit with our Mushi Musum, right? Why we had a little bit of trouble with that one, because this isn't exactly totally perfect yet.
You're only saying it's a part of the alphabet, though.
Well, you know what you could do
Or
is,
it
but I
belongs
think,
in the
let's
alphabet.
see, what about, consider X, it's a letter because it's, maybe part is too vague. So let's say consider X, it's a letter because it's one of the letters of the alphabet.
So that's an identity then?
Yeah, that's what we're going for. Yeah, to make this true, the relationship of identity has to be true. That's how you know the syllogism will be true, if the relationship of identity holds. So if we get a relationship of identity, then this proof has to be true. So the only thing we need to do is nail down and make sure that the relationship of identity is true. So consider X, it's a letter because it's one of the letters of the alphabet. What about that?
Can you use letter twice?
Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to talk about that today too. There's a list of 7 things that invalidate any syllogism. And we've covered one of them already. Do you want to guess, or do you know? What would be one thing that would automatically invalidate a syllogism?
The 1 and 3 are unrelated.
Well, that's one of the tests,
Okay.
right? So the tests, of course, have to be true. Then there are 7 characteristics, like 7 caveats to a syllogism that have to be true for the syllogism to be true. So you know 2 of them already.
In grade school, it was you can't use the vocabulary word in the definition.
Yeah, no, it's very similar to that. Yeah. Well, what we discussed was it has to exist, right? Because for something to exist, if it doesn't exist, it can't show a relationship,
Right.
right? So if the subject doesn't exist, the syllogism is going to be false automatically. Or if the reason doesn't exist, the syllogism will be false automatically. And then if the assertions also doesn't exist, the syllogism has to be false. So those are automatic things which disqualify the syllogism from being true. The other thing that we discussed, I think I mentioned it last time, was if the subject and the reason are the same, the syllogism is false. Right? That's also true. But is this the same? Is X and it's one of the letters of the alphabet? Are those? Is that saying? Is that exactly the same?
No.
It's not. They're different. So it's okay.
Right.
So then run a test. Test number 1 has a relationship between the subject and the reason. 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. So X is one of the letters of the alphabet, so we're okay. And test number 2, if 2 must be true, right? So if it's one of the letters of the alphabet, does it have to be a letter?
Yes.
Yes, that's okay. Then what's test number 3?
If it's
If
not
not
2, then
2,
must not 3.
Yeah. If 2 is not true, then 3 must not be true. Okay. So if something is not a letter, is it then not one of the letters of the alphabet? Yeah, I think that's okay. So that's cool. That was a little more complicated than I was hoping. But I guess part of what we want to do is we want to discuss how difficult it can be to write a correct syllogism. Like when we taught at Diamond Mountain, we used to do that. We would go around the room, and I thought about doing it, and maybe we still will. but then we didn't do it last weekend, was I would just make everybody write out a syllogism and try to write a true syllogism. And then what you would find is basically they would all be wrong. It's really difficult to write out a correct syllogism. But what I wanted to
use it in your everyday life.
well, that's what. Okay, good point. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to get to next. So, what was the next syllogism you gave me? The one that didn't work?
The alphabet.
Yeah.
So I consider the alphabet, it exists
Yeah.
because it was so wrong, I don't even know what was said.
Do you remember? Does anybody remember?
So the alphabet exists because...
It exists because it's a collection of letters. I think that's.
Yeah,
I think that's what it refers to.
No, because that's another relationship of identity. Because what I noticed what you did was, the first one you gave me was a reason that tried to use a relationship of identity. Those are generally easier to do. Like, this is easier to do than some of the other proofs. The second one you gave was you were trying to use a result. And then the secret sauce, if you read the book, the secret answer is, if you ever want to write out a syllogism that's true, that uses a result, you have to talk about seeds. If you try to use a result and you don't talk about seeds, it's going to be false. It's going to always fail test number 2 and 3, therefore.
Could you substitute the word seeds for karma?
Yeah, sure. So like, so for example, we did a bunch of, that were wrong last weekend. Like what? Who remembers? What's my favorite proof that's wrong that I always start off with?
Something with a
Do
monkey.
what you want. do what you
That's
want.
true, I love monkeys. I think that's the most important one. But the one I always start with is consider money,
Oh, wait.
right? Consider money.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna make a lot, right? Would be more correct. Because I work hard. True or false?
Nay. What was wrong with your test?
That's from the test. All right. So what's test number 1?
Money and working hard.
Yeah, there's a relationship between money and working hard. And we could say yes. It seems like if people work hard, they make money. What's test number 2?
If 3
Reason
plus 2.
to.
Yeah. So if I work hard, must it be the case that I will get lots of money?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And then give me an example.
The old lady in India breaking rocks on the side.
Yeah, that's the one I always use. What else?
Your lawyer friend.
Yeah, human rights work.
Yeah, any kind of volunteer work.
Yeah.
That's my other favorite one, right?
Steven's role.
I'm still waiting for my check to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or if you
Steven.
work really hard on an investment and the whole thing fails and you...
How about
Yeah, investments is
parenting?
good. Parenting. Yeah, sure, no, you're right. I mean, unless you're a child care worker, it's hard work for sure. We're staying at Nancy Karen's and we're watching Nancy Allen work constantly with Francis, and I don't see anybody paying her. That's a good one. Anyway, so this is, okay, so if we want, so now let's get it right. What do we put in here if we want this to be correct? Consider money, I'm going to get lots of it because...
I'm generous.
I'm generous. I give money to
I give money away. Then, let's test it.
intelligently give money away. Like,
Yeah, let's test it.
Because that doesn't...
What's test number 1?
There's a
Run the
relationship.
push-ups.
Yeah. So, what is it here in this syllogism?
It's wrong.
Consider money or give money away.
Yeah. If you give money away, in this one, right, money's in both. So that's easy. As long as you do actually give money away, then that one's going to be true. And if you don't give money away, then this syllogism's false for you, right? But if you give money away, there's a connection, obviously. Because we're talking about money, and then we're saying we give it away. What's test number 2?
If we get 2.
Yeah, so what's that here?
Well, I would say it's false.
away. Didn't get it.
What's test number 2 here first?
If you give money away,
Get it.
If you give money away, you'll get it. Technically, we would say that's correct. Why?
Because it goes back to the belief in karma.
Yeah. Which particular karmic law says that?
Giving you will receive.
Karma is action.
cause and effect.
Forever.
Do you guys know the 4 karmic
Like
laws?
the music produces
I'm not
life.
hearing what I want to hear.
Very actually.
Okay, what are the 4 laws of karma? Here we go. Just for the Buddhists.
Definite.
Yeah.
They
Seeds
know
are
that.
definite. What's the next one?
It grows.
Expand, always bigger.
Increases. Small seats get big
If you do
results.
it, get it.
What's number 3?
If you do it,
Yeah, if
get
you do
it.
it, you're gonna get it. If you
If
don't
you
do
do-
it, don't expect anything.
You get, what's number 4?
If you don't, you don't.
If you don't wait for it. Okay, so it's the law of karma. We say this is
You're saying 3, right? Is that what you're saying?
I would say 1.
Yeah, 1 or 3.
One, yeah.
1 or 3 would be fine. And then if we were, at Diamond Mountain or you're at Sarah, then you would debate that. That'd be an excellent thing to debate with each other. Debate whether, no, it's 3, no, it's 1.
Mhm.
Like, have that debate, and you'll learn something. So, anyway. Then, so the Mercedes is going to say, we've done all these DCI things, right? So there's
Well,
caveats
I'll
to
retract my
this.
answer, because I realized you would get it eventually, you just wouldn't get it fast unless you didn't apply it within the study.
Yeah.
So you would eventually get it, it might just be lifetimes from now, so actually, that is
Yeah.
correct. Okay.
Yeah, what's the biggest problem with seats? What's the biggest problem?
They take time.
The time gap, yeah. So as long as I allow for the time gap in the syllogism, then I'm okay. If I don't allow for the time gap, then I could have some problems, because, and we think that way, right? I'm not going to give Hector any money, because he's not going to give me any money back this second, right?
Mhm.
So then I'm like, I'm not giving Hector any money. But that's how we think, right? That's really how we think. And that's my whole argument for why we need to practice logic.
Can you put a
Because
clause
we think like that. Every time you walk by somebody and you don't give them money, you think it's because you're not going to get anything back.
Can you
That
not-
is what you're thinking.
Why can't you say that about the previous statement, that if I work hard, I'm going to get money. If I give it enough time, eventually I'll get money.
Because that's
Unrelated.
not true.
They're unrelated from 1 and 3.
Well, I mean, it's from our experience, it's not true, right? You can say, oh, from my experience, this is also not true. I don't believe the 4 laws. Well, then you have to prove the 4 laws.
Mhm.
Like, for now, I just want to take it for an assumption. We can do that this weekend. I'm totally happy to do it. But for now, we talked some last weekend about, a lot of people will say, logic is not useful because you're always making assumptions. And my contention is that's exactly why logic is useful. Because eventually you start to uncover, if you ask yourself these kinds of questions, you'll uncover all those assumptions. But just for now, let's assume the 4 laws of karma are correct.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah, and then we'll do the rest of that later. What else?
Can you add a clause of time
Specific.
onto this?
What's that?
Can you add a time clause? So if you say consider money, I don't know where you'd add it, I don't know how to
Because
add
I'm going to get it eventually. I'm going to get it in this lifetime, next lifetime, or lifetimes after that. That's the classic, what is it? Do you know what that is?
That sort of leads.
Chi something. There's I think it was the Buddha or somebody, they asked the Buddha,
3 times.
when is my seed going to come back? And he said, well, in this lifetime, your next lifetime, or it could be lifetimes after that.
Anyone after that.
So if we could
Okay.
consider money, I'm gonna get it fast, because I give it away, and then I would have to say with wisdom, or I would have to say.
Yeah,
I
if you
think
say-
to define fast.
I'm gonna get it fast. I'm gonna get quickly. Yeah, that also would need to be defined.
Right.
But this is Geshe Michael's contention. If you wanted to write out of the syllogism, consider money. I'm gonna get it fast because I give money with the.
With wisdom.
Understanding.
With wisdom. With wisdom.
Of ultimate reality.
Which teaches them constantly. Starts with
I
4.
don't-
With a pen.
4 steps. Mercedes doesn't want to say 4 steps.
Let's say with wisdom.
Anyway, that's the syllogism. This is what Geshe Michael's always teaching you. Every time you hear Geshe Michael talk, he's saying consider money, you can get it, because if you give it away with the 4 steps, it'll come back quickly.
Or replace anything you want with money.
Yeah,
Replace money with anything you want.
partner, health, et cetera, and then it stays the same. You just have to figure out, So if I want to be healthy, right? We proved last weekend that yoga doesn't make you healthy, necessarily, right? So consider my health. And what do I put in here? Yeah. I mean, health, essentially. But then what we would say is just take care of somebody else's health. Which, I give away actually doesn't work exactly. But I take care of somebody else's health, then with the 4 steps, and it must fast, that I will be healthy. And that's it. This is always what he's giving you. Every time he talks, he's giving you some version of this. So, don't just buy it, write out, do the test, prove it to yourself. Because my contention is if you don't prove it to yourself, if you don't believe this, then you won't do it. You go to Geshe Michael's talk and you'll clap and you'll smile at him and you'll go home and forget about everything. Right?
If you're going in this direction, but what I was asking about with the characteristic, with the quality and characteristic, that process of understanding how categories and cheese and bricks and all that work, how does, like, with the way that our mind structures thoughts and understands things, how specifically understanding that would directly lead to the direct perception of emptiness?
Understanding which? You mean Chi-Chet?
Yeah, like what about our mind?
Yeah, let's say that for the end.
Okay.
This all got really complicated really fast, which is what I'm trying not to do. I didn't want to review everything, so we did that really well. But then I probably freaked out everybody, which what I was trying not to do. So I don't want to talk about Chi-Chet right now because that's complicated. It's going to freak everybody out. I want to talk about Monty Python. I worked really hard on writing out some syllogisms from Monty Python. So, has anybody seen The Holy Grail?
Yes.
That was the reference
Good,
before,
yeah. So me and Tad just watched it on YouTube. So, we're going to write out the syllogism. Consider this woman.
She's a witch.
She's a witch.
Because she weighs.
Oh boy.
So what's the first one? Did you know the first one? She's a witch.
She weighs as much as a duck or something.
That's
That's the big one. That's the big one. Yeah. She's got a big nose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She looks like one. The first argument is right. They drag her up and they put a hat and a nose on her, and they say, "Consider this woman. She's a witch because she looks like one."
Right.
Right. So true or false?
We run the 3 tests, but what does a witch look like?
Well, yeah. So is a relationship between this woman and that she looks like a witch. So you could, obviously, she refers to woman, so we're okay there. So then, what would invalidate the syllogism?
I don't know what a witch looks like.
Yeah, if this is false. If she doesn't look like a witch, then this syllogism is not true, right? Because this is false, and that breaks the whole thing, right? So then, yeah, you could say, talking Drew, this is not true. It fails the first test because she doesn't look like a witch. Because what does a witch look like? I have no idea.
So then would you say define, or you said talk about, say that again?
Yeah, talking Drew means it fails test number 1.
Okay, so then how would you say define she looks like one?
Well, so say, somebody says, consider this woman, she's a witch because she looks like one.
Define what a witch
And you
is.
say, you say talking Drew, I don't see the relationship between 1 and 3. So then what would the attacker do next?
She's got a big nose.
Yeah. You keep number 1.
Consider a witch.
And you tell me, you keep number 1 and then what happens?
You put 3 into 2.
And number 3 becomes number 2, all right?
Yeah.
So consider this woman. She does look like 1. Because what?
She's got a big nose.
Yeah. She's got the nose. Then what would you say? What does she say?
No, I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch.
They put this on me.
Yeah.
So it actually perfectly follows the structure of how we would do a debate. Alright, so then what's the next line of argument? What do they say next? Where does the scientist go?
Wait, so you have to do the test
What
one
floats?
again, right?
Yeah, see, so then I would say it fails test number 1 because she doesn't have a witch's nose. They put it on her. Right? Talking to her.
Then we'll go to another.
So then they try a new line of argumentation because this one failed. Right? Good. Yeah, I'll use that. What does a scientist try to argue?
She thinks.
Yeah, consider this woman, she's a witch because
Because she weighs more than
she weighs the same as a duck.
weighs the same as a duck, right?
Sounds rational.
It's totally rational.
Then
She weighs the same as a duck. And then he takes them through the logic, right? They say, well, why does she weigh the same as the duck? The guy says, talk to Drew. I don't see the relationship between 1 and 3. Why does this one weigh the same as the duck? What do? Keep the subject the same. You make number
3,
3, 2.
3 number 2. So now what's the proof that she weighs like a duck?
It floats.
Throw it in the water.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, I messed up. They prove that she weighs the same as a duck. So it passes test number 1. So then what's test number 2?
How much does a duck weigh?
So then we're back to the normal one?
Yeah, no, it's test number 2 here.
She's a witch.
If she's
2 months.
Witches.
Is a duck a witch? She's not a witch, then she
Okay,
must be a duck.
what's test number 2?
if 3 must
Three
do.
If 3 must be true.
So she
okay.
weighs the same as a duck, she must be a
If she
witch.
weighs the same as a duck, she must be a witch,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they say it fails that test. So then what does he say? No, it is true But if she weighs the same as a duck, she's a witch because
Ducks float.
ducks float on water.
And what else floats on water? Like
And then
small
they say
tiny pebbles.
not necessarily. Just because something floats on water doesn't mean she's a witch. Well, no, wood floats on water, right?
Wait, so then what would be?
And why would witches burn?
there?
Because they are made of wood.
Because they're made of wood.
Yeah.
See? No? Yes? Anyway, go back to logic. It's perfectly logical.
Yeah.
If she weighs as much as a duck, you should burn her. Okay. But no, I was doing that to be silly, right? I'm just trying to.
No, it's
it can be fun.
fun.
You know, logic can be fun. You can enjoy it.
And she actually does end up weighing the same as a duck, which is unfortunate.
If she had been heavier than a duck, she would have got away.
Yeah.
So now let's do something more serious. So we covered identity, right? And we covered cause and effect. So then we're down to the class 6. I'm going to skip a bit of stuff from 5 and come back to it for you guys that are doing homework. But class 6 in the original 10 classes Geshe Michael taught is a class on negation. So does anybody remember why this is important? Why we study negation and logic and why?
Because why not?
Yeah. Why? You tell me why. Yeah, you got it. What are the 3 reasons why we study logic? You remember?
So we have to
3 classic reasons.
learn not to
Yeah,
judge everything.
yeah, don't judge people. What are the other 2, just to recap?
To protect the teachings.
Yeah, to be a Tenzin, right? To be a holder of the teachings. Why does studying logic make you a Tenzin?
You can understand them and defend them. And
Yeah, because somebody's going to challenge you at some point. They're going to say that sounds stupid. Reincarnation's dumb. Like, that's a weird idea. Why the hell would you believe that? That's crazy. You know? You need to have something to say, I think. And you need to have thought about it. Otherwise, that is just going to challenge you, and you're going to go to sleep that night. You're going to think, God, maybe I'm wrong about this whole reincarnation thing. Maybe Buddhism is crazy. God, why am I wasting my time? So, if you want to avoid that, then this is why we study logic. Okay, then what's the first reason? Most important reason?
emptiness.
Emptiness, yeah. Don't practice Green Dragon Kung Fu. Right? The cornerstone of everything we're doing, everything we're teaching, relies on emptiness. Can we see emptiness right now? I mean, we could, theoretically, but I can't. You know, that's one of the characteristics of emptiness, right? It surrounds me all the time, it's around me constantly, but I can't see it. And everything looks to me like it's not empty, right? So, but we can prove it logically, and if we prove emptiness logically, then they say in the logic books that is like you saw it. You know, and you can rely on that now. So again, it's the same thing. Like, if you're gonna, we all only have so much time in the day. We all have lots of stuff to do. We have families, work, job. If you're gonna spend your time studying Buddhism, then something about it ought to be true. And if there was any one particular thing that ought to be true, it better be this one, because everything depends on this. And if you just believed it because Geshe Michael told you to believe it, then that's not a great way to go through life.
So it's like an indirect perception of emptiness to prove it logically?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. What's our definition of existing?
Anything perceived by a...
Perceived by valid perception.
Perceived, thank you.
What is it? Spell them out.
Just it.
Pick me up.
What he said. Yeah, I put you on the spot. So for something to exist, it has to be perceived by valid perception. What are the 2 kinds of valid perception?
Direct and indirect.
Direct and indirect. Which one's better?
Direct.
Logically, they say it doesn't matter. Either one's good. Either, what's the word?
Deduction.
I just forgot my fancy Latin word. The ontological status of anything proven by direct or indirect valid perception is the same. Like, something doesn't exist more or less, depending on how you verify it. Like, if you verify it through a direct perception, or you verify its existence through an indirect perception, its ontological status is the same. You know, just because you only can see it through indirect perception doesn't mean it exists less somehow than if you saw it with your eyes, right? They're both 100% proofs of the existence of something. As long as this is correct, as long as you didn't monkey it up somewhere.
It's like
Obviously.
if you're looking at a reflection and you see someone in the mirror, you know that they're there even though you don't see them.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
totally-
I mean, the one issue Michael always uses is, so everybody sees the pen in my hand, right, and then, what happened?
Don't see it.
I dropped the pen, right? Did you see me drop the pen?
No.
No, but you know I dropped the pen, right? Because what you're doing real fast is real quick. Oh, he had it in his hand. I heard it hit the floor. He must have dropped it, right? That's totally fine.
Unless he didn't, yeah.
Yeah. You know, again, of course, you always have to check. You know, if I like to trick people a lot,
But
you think maybe he's trying to trick me. Maybe it's a recording of a pen dropping, and he still got the pen the whole time. Ha ha. You know what I mean?
So do you still have to prove something if you've had a direct experience, like you would have to prove, because there is that 1% chance that you might have been playing a recording in the background. There's a knowing, and then there's a doubt to the knowing.
Well, obviously, again, to prove something's existence through indirect means, through using logic, it has to be, you have to prove it logically. It can't be sloppy. You know, it has to be a real proof, and you have to run the tests and check and know. You know, so if it is possible that I could be playing a recording back and I'm still holding the pen, that is a possibility. So we have to eliminate that logically if you want to be absolutely sure.
Is part of the point of that argument to get us to think about the fact that what we're seeing is equally as suspicious and equally as valid?
Yeah, that's where I thought Hector was going. Because, so what are the two times, if we, here, so we'll remove this real fast and then maybe we'll take a break. The other thing that we have to review, no, it's okay, thank you, is all existing things, right? So, what are the synonyms for all existing things?
Knowable things.
Yeah, knowable.
Me. No? What's wrong?
Object.
Object.
Yeah, no, this is the biggest possible circle, right? Yeah, object is another one. What's another one?
Just a thing.
Thing, yeah, which are people studying Dharma. Does anybody know what the Dharma word is for thing?
Dharma.
Yeah, Dharma. What's the definition for thing? Does anybody know?
Performs a function?
No.
No.
That which holds its own essence,
Mhm.
right? And then that, if you think about that, that's why the word for thing ended up becoming the word for Dharma. What else? What was the one that I added?
All existing?
Anything that can be defined as a
Yes,
thing? All of the
but
different.
that's not the one that I gave. You weren't here last weekend. But that's absolutely true. Things that need definitions. Well, no, you could use that one because then you could say things that need definitions and definitions. How many things in the world are empty?
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, not are empty, have empty.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Things that
Yeah.
have emptiness. Right? Which is Mahamudra, right? Show me a thing which is empty and I'll show you a thing that exists. Show me a thing that doesn't exist and I'll show you a thing that isn't empty. Right? So they're equivalent. Okay. If we wanted to split all existing things into categories, what would be our first choice?
Changing around, changing.
Yeah, changing and unchanging. That's our classic rule. And what can we split unchanging into?
Mental and physical. Oh, sorry.
Black space
Sorry,
and
that's-
emptiness.
Yeah, basically there's only three things that are unchanging, so we can just list them. Facts, emptiness, and
Empty space, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you can talk about, mental images I think goes in here, we can talk about that. Anyway, this pretty much covers it. What do we split this into?
Not pretty sensitive, sorry.
What's that?
Physical, mental,
Physical.
Physical, mental,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
neither.
physical, mental, and neither physical nor mental. And then we discussed this one a lot because this one's sketchy.
So like a person. Yeah.
Then, did we do what you can divide these into? I don't think we did, right?
Physical is
Did we?
shape and color, and
Yeah, good.
mental is valid and invalid.
Cool. Shape and color, and mental is valid.
And invalid, yeah.
Right. So, then getting to her question, then what can we split valid into?
Direct and indirect.
Yeah, direct and indirect. So that covers all existing things, pretty much.
And neither is like a person or an animal.
Yeah, the example they gave for neither was person, and I don't accept that.
Okay.
So you have to think about it. But direct and indirect. So what's an example of a direct perception? Or I'm sorry, what's an example of a valid direct perception?
Direct perception of emptiness? Is that-
Sure. Let's do an easier one though.
Okay.
That wall is cream colored.
Yeah. Or this pen cap is black, right? Or the tripod is black, or the table is red, right? Direct perception. Although I would say that I try to remember to say this. I think I said it before. Don't get locked into thinking that the only direct perceptions are things that you see with your eyes. What else is a direct perception?
The other senses that.
Yeah, any other sense. So what you're hearing right now is a direct perception. My words as they come to you through your ears is a direct perception. Or if something is hot or cold and you're touching it, that's a direct perception. If it's
something tastes salty.
salty or sweet, yeah. If I'm looking at a coffee and I'm saying it's hot, is that direct or indirect?
You just made that up.
Indirect.
That's indirect, right? I'm saying, oh, I see the steam. If there's steam coming from it, it must be hot. That's an indirect perception. But if I stick my finger in it, right, then what? And it's hot.
Direct.
Then it's a direct perception. Yeah.
Would the steam just be a physical? Does that fall under physical because it's a shape and color?
Yeah. I mean, the actual perception of the steam is a direct perception. But to infer from the steam that the coffee is hot, that's actually an indirect perception.
So an indirect is an inference.
Yeah.
So can you not split invalid mental perceptions into direct and indirect as well?
Well, so let's start there. So now, what's an invalid perception? Does anybody have an example?
Coffee's cold.
Coffee's cold based upon the steam.
That's true. You could do a wrong logical conclusion. That would be an invalid perception. What else? What would be a direct invalid perception?
When you see
When you
something
s-
driving.
Yeah,
Squirrel,
yeah,
and it's
the
a
subway.
piece of garbage.
Yeah. A leaf mouse. Sometimes they use that one.
The snake.
When there's a leaf, you see a mouse run across the road, you jam on the brakes, and then you see it's a leaf.
It's actually a leaf.
Yeah, and then the other classic one is the snake rope. You jump back because you see a snake, then you realize it's just a rope. I want to debate all those.
But it
though.
was a rope.
So the other one's better. You're in the train, right? I just had it happen to me yesterday. I grabbed something on the train because I saw the train moving, but it wasn't moving. The other train left. Right, so the other train started to go, and I'm like, ah! I grabbed the bar, and the train opposite wasn't going anywhere. Right? So classically, that's an invalid perception. Or,
Could it
yeah,
also be like trying to guess what somebody else is thinking?
Yeah.
Like,
awesome. Yeah, so that's this, which is what we were getting around.
That's negation?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Because what you're doing.
Do tell.
Yeah. Example, please.
Yes, well, I have one. That's great. Did you ask?
I'm so excited. Consider angry boss. Right, we used this one before. To apply it to our life. Consider angry boss. He's a bad person. Because, he yelled at me. Actually, this isn't what I wanted yet, but we can do it anyway.
Can we make it
Okay.
she? Can we put just to be?
What's that?
Can we say she?
Make
yelled
it
at me?
she for
Yeah,
Hector's.
the boss. Doesn't have to be male.
She
I want some
yelled.
equality. Yelling bosses can also be she.
Okay, that's true.
Equal rights.
That's totally fine with me. All right.
Let's.
Usually we don't apply that. If someone in particular you're thinking of, we can talk about her. Okay, yeah, sure. So consider my inner boss. She's a bad person because she yelled at me. True or false?
Let's run the test.
Yeah, thank you. So what's test number 1?
1 and 3.
Yeah, 1 and 3. So what would invalidate it?
If she were not angry.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, she wasn't balanced.
Or if my boss was a man.
Not always.
Yeah, this is great. It's all good stuff. Yeah.
she didn't think
Just
she
team
yelled
it
at
up.
you.
Exactly. That's where I was trying to go. If she yelled at you, is it true?
Yeah.
Because there's a person who tells me that they're not yelling at me all the time. They say that they're Italian. I'm not yelling at you, I'm excited. So if it's true that she's excited and not yelling at me, then theoretically this would be false, right? Because this fact doesn't exist.
Well, I suppose that it depends upon who is sort of analyzing this, right?
Sure. And what's the Tibetan for that? Does anybody remember?
For them, for what?
P-O.
For me.
Sula.
Yeah! Wow, nice, awesome. I thought there was no way they're going to get that. I'll just write it. Yeah, Sula. Which means what? For who? Yeah, for who, for whom. So who are we talking about? Many syllogisms would be false because you don't specify who you're talking about. You know, is this a pen? What you have to ask?
For whom?
For who, right? And classically, if you want to have fun with people, because they don't know these things, which you shouldn't ever do, but if you wanted to, what you do is you say, consider this pen, it's a pen because, you know, I see it as a pen. And then they say, yeah, of course that's true. And then, then where you go? Oh, that's false. Why? Because the dog sees it as something else. So if I ask you, is this a pen, you better say, for who, right? Because if you don't, you're wrong. Because if you say, it's a pen, I'm going to say, so it's a pen for a dog.
Right.
And if you say, it's a chew toy, I'm going to say, so it's a chew toy for a human. Right? Either way you'll be wrong. So you have to say sula for who, right? So a lot of these kind of things are going to be false. So, you know, so consider my angry boss, she's a bad person because I perceived her yelling at me. You know, that would eliminate the fact that my boss didn't see herself as yelling at me, right? Which might be totally true, right? You say, talk the truth, there's no relation because I didn't yell at you. I wasn't yelling at you, I was excited.
Italian friend.
I was the best double speak I've ever heard in my whole life. I was at this review. Our coach, I'm off the subject now with this great story. I was at a review one time, and our company came out and said they were trying to get morale was low. You know, the .com crash hit, and I worked for a company that produced computer books, and we took a hit. You know, everybody stopped buying computer books, so morale's really low. So the company's like, well, how do we fix morale? And they come out and they're like, we'll give them 2 reviews a year, so they get 2 chances for a raise every year, right? But very quickly, what did you realize?
It's half of it.
2 chances for not raise.
2 chances to not get a raise. Yeah, they're not actually going to give you a raise. They're going to give you another review and dangle the carrot in front of you of getting a raise, but nobody actually got a raise. You got your extra review, and they said, work harder, and you'll get a review next time, and you'll get a raise next time. And they were like, oh, yeah, sure, I see. It's all some little corporate mind game, screw us over again. And then we're out, tanks. So that's the emptiness of that. But anyway, I'm in the meeting with my boss, and he's explaining to us that we get 2 reviews a year now, and he's trying to get us excited. And this girl just lost it and started screaming at him. You're jerking us around, and this is bullshit, and all this kind of stuff. And he sat there and he nodded, and he waited for her to stop, and then she stopped, and he said, I'm excited about your enthusiasm. And I was like, that was awesome. Anyway.
So I have a serious question, even though it's going to come out as a joke. So consider your not Italian boss. She's a bad person because she yelled at me.
To eliminate that possibility.
Yeah, using the assumption that Italians don't care.
Yeah, sure. To break her definition. Because if her definition of excited versus yelling is false,
right,
then she's going to be wrong.
Right. But you can add a negative word in that actual...
Sure, you can do anything you want.
Okay.
Give me a good reason. What's my favorite reason?
Because I yelled at someone in the past.
My favorite reason.
Oh.
What's my favorite reason?
Because I like monkeys.
Because I like
monkeys.
You can put anything in there you want. There's no, I can't say it'll be true, but you can put anything in there you want. There's no laws about what you can and can't put in there. So, yeah, and the same thing with the subject. You can put any qualification on the subject you want. And whether it's true or not is still going to depend on the tests. Right? So there's no limitation in that way because the test is going to prove whether something's true or false. So you don't, other than, like I said, that it has to exist. As soon as you make up something, rabbits with horns, like it's the classic example in Tibetan Buddhism, as soon as they start talking about rabbits with horns, you just go false, because you're talking about something that doesn't exist. So let me write down this other one, because this wasn't, it's good to talk about. But anyway, so, but why is that always going to be false? You know, my judgment of the other person, why is that always going to be false?
You can't know.
Because I can't know, right? I have an absence in my mind. I don't know what that person is thinking. And I'm trying to fill that in, which is always going to be false because I don't actually have that information. Yeah. So let's make that more explicit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here it is. Sorry. This one's more obvious. I should have left that up. Consider angry boss.
Just the absence
yeah.
of validity?
Hang on. I should not judge him. So I should not judge him.
Her.
Because her.
Because he's a woman.
It's very back to Monty Python, like life of Brian.
You're all individuals.
I'm not.
Okay.
I was thinking of the right time.
So consider angry boss. I should not judge her because I don't know her motive. True or false?
It's in my boss.
Run the test. Okay, what's test number 1?
Related.
Yeah, so what's it here?
Angry boss, her.
Her and angry
Angry
boss.
boss and not her.
Yeah,
Her and boss.
yeah, her, right, refers back to
Boss.
angry boss, so that's cool. So we showed a relationship. What would invalidate this? There's 2. How would you invalidate the subject? What's that?
It doesn't relate back to the boss.
No. So
She's
I can
either
invalidate now. So there's
she's-
7 ways you can invalidate a proof. I gave you 3 of them. Which one applies here? Could apply here.
The reason doesn't.
Subject doesn't
Subject doesn't exist.
exist. So how could the subject not exist? We just talked about it.
She might not be your boss.
Well, she might not be
Angry.
angry,
Okay.
right? If she's not angry, then she's not angry boss. So that doesn't exist, so it's false, right? So I'll put angry in quotes because we're making an assumption there, right? Could be false. How could the reason be false?
If you didn't know.
If you did know, who knows? Who's an example of somebody that knows? Buddha. Yeah, the Buddha can read your mind.
Yay.
You know.
Yay!
You know. He can do, right? So.
All omniscient.
So if you said, you know, if you were talking, if I was referring to someone who was a Buddha, the syllogism would be false. Because that person would know what they were thinking. So then that wouldn't exist, then the thing would be false. Does that make sense?
To a Buddha.
Yeah.
For whom? That's
For whom?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so we have to, yeah, so you keep thinking like this. Okay, so let's take out angry, and let's assume we're not Buddhas. So then her refers back to boss, we're cool. What's test number 2?
If 3 must
Three,
do.
there's
Must
two.
do.
Yeah. So if you don't know her motive, is it true that you must not judge her?
Correct.
Yeah. What's the example?
You will, you'll fall.
Yeah. The Buddha judged somebody one time and he fell into the lower realms because he was wrong. Right? And Jesus is on this all the time, you know, constantly talking about don't judge people. He never explains why. Here's why. Okay. And then what's test number 3, just to cover all our bases?
If not 2, then must not 3.
Yeah. So I should not, meaning I should or I could judge somebody
Judge her.
if
I know
I
her.
did know what their motive was. Which, I mean, you know, doesn't sound great, right? But it's true.
I should judge her if I know.
You know,
If I know her.
if you knew somebody had a bad motive, then you should act based on that.
Well, wouldn't that be invalid though, because the whole concept is not to judge people? I mean,
No, yeah, see, so that's why it's important, and to be honest, that's why it's so great to do the 3rd one. All kinds of neat stuff comes up when you actually do the 3rd test.
Yeah.
It makes you look at stuff from different perspectives. There's nothing, is judging bad? Is it bad to judge someone?
Yes.
Well, judging
No.
could be a compliment.
For whom?
Yeah, good. No, because if you know the quote, right? Buddha said, only I or someone like me should judge another.
Right.
Right? No, there's nothing inherently wrong with judging, right? Because it's empty like everything else. It's fine to judge people, as long as you know what they're thinking. If you don't, then don't do it, right? So, I don't. See, there's negation. You're using negation in the reason. So that's the third kind of reason. That's why I brought all this up. And again, this is why we're supposed to study this. We don't know what other people are thinking, so you should not judge them. You know, because you don't know. Maybe George Bush is a Buddha. I have no idea. You know, I can think of all kinds of good things that happened because George Bush was president. We never would have elected a black man if it hadn't been George Bush right in front of him. I firmly believe that. You know, so maybe as a Buddha, George Bush was clearing the way that we would be forced to elect a black man. Maybe, I don't know. You know, there's no way to know. So until we get to be a Buddha. Does somebody have a question?
Just to tease it out, but we don't have to go too far down. But I was curious if there's, you know, what the difference between, so we shouldn't judge people because we don't know their motives, but we have to use judgment, right? Like,
good, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Like I always said, right, so, you know, the example we used was the Buddha's going to kill the guy on the ship because he's getting ready to murder everybody. Buddha can read his mind, so he knows he's getting ready to murder everybody on the ship. So, if I could read everybody's mind, then of course I would help the Buddha kill that guy, right? But since I can't read everybody's mind, and I'm watching the Buddha try to kill that guy, now what's my responsibility?
You have to stop the Buddha.
My responsibility would be to try to stop him. Because I don't, you know, give the information that I have, all I know is somebody's trying to kill somebody, and what's the first of the 10 non-virtues? Don't kill people, right? So, my argument would be that, yeah, you have to try to stop them. You know, and then, would you get a good karma from that or a bad karma from that?
Good. Your intention?
Mostly good, because your intention is to try to save somebody.
Even though it eventually
Save
led to your
human
own
life.
demise.
What's that?
I said even though it would have eventually led to your own death.
You think you can stop the Buddha?
Yeah, see, yes, technically, you wouldn't be able to stop it. You would still kill the guy, and you'd feel bad, but then you'd live. And some good thing would happen in the future because you'd try to save human life.
And the Buddha would be able to see your virtue.
And the Buddha would know all that was going on, and he would have done it all on purpose.
It's fine. It's
fine.
Yeah. It's
Hypothetically irrelevant.
Hypothetically.
Can you formalize negation? Like, I don't see how the structure of that works.
Yeah, I mean, you're just using a not in the reason, that's all. Not is always negation.
So anytime there's a not, it must be negation. It cannot be cause or effect.
Correct.
Okay.
Because you would be denying cause or effect or denying a relationship of identity. Automatically, right, by definition.
I mean, but don't we get to the nots whenever we do the third test?
Yeah, but this just has to do with the syllogism itself.
Okay.
You're overthinking it slightly. It's okay. Because anytime you're using negation in the reason, you're negating one of these two things. So that's why it would be.
Does negation? Oh, so it's just negation in the reason, and it's not necessarily negation in the.
Yeah, just the reason. Yeah,
Okay.
we're just talking about the reason.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. Make sure I cover everything. Oh, what are the two kinds of negation? Do anybody know?
Single and double.
Not and not.
That's close. You're on the right track. You're absolutely on the right track. Are facts positive or negative?
negative,
Negative,
Why?
because they're unchanging.
because it defines everything that's under
Well, that's
That's good. These are all things we could debate, and I'm so excited. I'm calming myself down right now. You can't see that because you're carrying my mind. That's what's happening. This is so great. But, like it's a debate, right? Whether facts are positive or negative. Why is it a debate?
Because what's a fact?
Because Sula.
Ooh, very deep. No, because any fact can be expressed positively and any fact can be expressed negatively, right? So it's a debate. They debate whether they're positive or negative. You know, if I say this pen cap is black, is that positive or negative?
Yes.
It's positive,
It's
and then it's black,
positive, right?
negating all.
If I say this pen cap is nothing other than black, positive or negative?
But they're both. They're both. They're
Yeah.
both.
So it's because
It kind of depends on your point of view whether it's positive
So
or
is it
negative.
because facts set up a partition and it's from which side of the partition you're talking about it?
Yeah, you could look at it like that. But to not get too far afield, the two kinds of negation is they call simple negation and inferred negation. So like Gakpa is simple negation, like emptiness or space. You're just negating something. You know, emptiness negates that there could be a self-existent thing. That's it. That's all it is. Not more complicated than that. Applying it to your life is more complicated, but as far as understanding it, it's that simple. But implied negation is, for example, if I said this pen cap is black.
You said inferred earlier, which is it?
Implied or inferred, I'm okay with either one of those.
Okay.
Because like when I say this pen cap is black, what does that imply? What can you infer from that?
It's not purple, red, green,
It's not
pink,
purple, red,
orange.
green, pink, blue. So the classic example I always use is Fat John doesn't eat during the day. So if I say Fat John doesn't eat during the day, what do you know?
Yeah,
He's eating a lot at night. You know, so it implies something else. Anyway, that's they make that division.
What is it? It's Gak.
Gakpa and Mayingak, right, is Tibetan. And I always use the Tibetan again because we don't. Again, this is another example of what we don't have this concept in English, so it's just easier for me to use the Tibetan.
And Mayingak is inferred.
Yeah. So I'll give you a better example. You'll understand instantly what a Mayingak is. If I say, if you ask me about your shirt, do you like my shirt? And I say, your hat's awesome. What am I doing?
Quiet.
Why did you hate the shirt?
Yeah, that's Mayingak.
It's like the blind date. It's like she's got a real great personality.
Yeah, that's Mayingak.
You have funny references.
Okay. So that's 2 homework questions knocked out. Okay, does negation require a negative word?
Yes.
What do you think?
You just said that, right?
No.
That's what we just said.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes, I did say that. An easy way to know this is negative is if it has a not in it. If it has a not in it, then it's negative. But is that all inclusive?
Oh, so this is the small circle is
Yeah.
that has knots in it, and then there are other
This
ones.
is relationship of identity now. It's not. This is all sentences which use not are negative, but are all negative sentences? Do all negative sentences use the word not?
Okay.
No. Yeah. So what's an example? It's on the board up here.
No, it has emptiness.
Yeah, emptiness is good. Space is good. Right? Space is negative. It's negation. But you're not using the word not. Geshe Michael found a fancy word in Tibetan. I'll write it just for fun. Are you mad at me? Yeah.
No.
I feel like you're mad at me now because I tricked you or something.
No,
It's like, God damn it, this guy. I'm sick of this crap.
Not at all.
No, I'm teasing. So say ch, ni. Ch, ni. Yeah. Chini is a fancy synonym for emptiness. And it means like, ni means nest, and ch means thing. So Geshe Michael translated, I had to write it down. Geshe Michael translated it as the true nature of all things.
Is it suchness?
But yes, it's like suchness. Thingness, suchness is exactly the same as that. And all those kinds of things are synonyms for emptiness. Why?
Because emptiness includes all things.
Yeah, this, basically, right? What's another way to divide all existing things? If I don't like this one, I want to divide all things into something else. What can I do?
You and everything that's not you.
That's good. And give me another one. Based now on emptiness.
Things that happen before now and after now?
That's interesting. We're going to do time later and talk about time.
It's that emptiness.
Yeah, what if I just put emptiness right here? What's the other half?
Dependent arising.
Thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, dependent origination. So what's a synonym for this? Opposite that.
You just put one.
Ultimate.
Ultimate reality. And then what's this one?
Nominal or relative.
Yeah.
Deceptive.
Yeah. Why do we prefer deceptive reality over nominal or?
They appear implies the falseness.
Yeah. What's the Tibetan for deceptive reality? Does anybody know? Kunzol Dimba, right? Ultimate reality is Dundam Dimba. And then deceptive reality is Kunzol Dimba. And Kunzol literally means deceptive. That's why I guess you might like that translation, deceptive reality. And then why do we call anything that's dependently originated deceptive reality?
Because it's the negation of the ultimate which you're trying to get to. No?
What does this look like to me?
It appears self-existent.
Yeah, it looks self-existent.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a pen, right? It looks like pen coming at me. You know, pen appears like it's coming at me. And that's how we're deceived by everything around us. Because how does pen really exist?
From you.
Comes this way. Right? So, does anybody say Yoga Sutra? What's the definition of yoga? Yeah, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Say Yogash?
Yogash.
Chitta?
Chitta.
Vritti?
Vritti.
Nirodha.
Nirodha.
Yeah, what does it mean? Does anybody know?
Stopping
Yeah, yoga is stopping the wrong turnings of the mind. What the hell is he talking about?
Negative thoughts.
Yoga.
Yeah, everything I turn it around. I think everything is coming this way, right? It's exactly backwards. Everything is coming that way, right? So yoga, not asana, right? Yoga is turning that around. Understanding things are not coming this way, they're coming that way.
So it's object-subject versus subject-object.
That's a relationship of dependence. We'll talk about that.
Deceptive reality would be inherent value, object to me thinking that this has inherent value, whereas emptiness would be me understanding that this does not have inherent value.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
I'm teasing. I'm just totally teasing you. But let's take a break there. I wanted to take a break like 20 minutes ago. Let's take a little break and buy my book. No, I didn't say that. Take a little break and drink something and relax, and then we'll come back and we'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you said you were teasing, but you didn't answer the question.
Yeah, no, give it to me.
All right. Deceptive reality would be the object having inherent value coming into me.
Can I get two?
So
Yeah,
me with the assumption that the pen is the pen inherently. And then emptiness would be me with the understanding that I'm placing this label upon the pen and it's perceptive as truth. It isn't your truth.
No, you can't say emptiness there, right? Because emptiness always has to negate something. So when you flip around deceptive reality,
What's that?
you can't say
I knew you'd ask yoga.
the question is, like, if you want to do like the debate, the debate is,
Yoga is
we're going to call it deceptive reality, but for example, because we're deceived by it. If I did Sula, right? But is a Buddha deceived by it?
Oh, it would.
No.
No.
So then a Buddha technically would not have that sort of juxtaposition. They wouldn't have that sort of binary existence.
Well, no, they do.
Okay.
But you would be more likely to use the word dependent origination rather than deceptive reality.
What is dependent origination?
Same
Or
thing.
dependent arising? I've heard that
It's the
term.
same. Those are synonyms. But when you say dependent origination, the implication is where the things come from. Things arise in dependence on something. So what do things arise in dependence on?
world works.
And we say our perceptions. Yeah. Yes, they worse than us by how we treat our perceptions. So that's the working definition of dependent origination.
Did you buy that?
Okay.
Perceptions forced on us
Yeah,
by
well,
how we
you
treat
can.
other people.
Yeah.
Cool. Wait, where's one?
One of them's for you.
Okay, cool.
May I please get an autograph? It's for a special person of mine.
So they can put the book on with a
Like
card
you.
here?
You want me to write it?
Yeah, that would be nice. My name's Hector.
You can do it right now. The only thing is,
Singing practice.
3 joules has 10, and then you guys have the rest. So I guess if they do it on credit card,
Thank you for teaching.
Oh, of course.
it'll be one of the
That would be
joules.
for Stephen. That's like
So it's more expensive.
No, it's the same.
I can go to the bank.
It's the same. I just haven't. We haven't divvied it. I was just thinking about we haven't divvied it up yet.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
I'll go to the bank on that.
Thank you.
But yeah, just hold one.
The thing.
Oh.
Handshake again. Do you want some tea or something?
We got soup. I'm good. I have a naked juice.
Hey, I pointed them to the Amazon to buy books online? Point that somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think it's up on Amazon yet. I'll try and find out soon when that's gonna happen. It might be another week or two.
I mean, there was books for sale on Amazon.
There was
Yes.
already. Yeah. Good, thanks for letting me know.